you have the right, if you're a citizen of the United States of America, to claim unappropriated land. So I claimed a $1 million piece right next to a casino. Boulder Highway, Las Vegas. We still have it. What we did was we took the guy's mining claim. He had been red tagged on Monday. They gave him till Friday to vacate. And the BLM told him, we're going to clean off your property with semi-trucks and wreckers. We're going to bring out loaders and forklifts, and you're out of here. He didn't want to go. So we had a deed, a quitclaim deed, and we sold the property from his dead name in all capital letters as he claimed it as a U.S. citizen to his real name in upper and lower case with a comma or semicolon between the middle and last name. And it said that for consideration of $21, that he is selling his rights to the new claimant who claims the land pursuant to his birthright of God, pursuant to the common law. And if anybody has a problem with this new title or ownership, we demand a Seventh Amendment trial. That was put right on the face of this contract. Well, the minute you record the document, you give it back to the phony United States corporation. All you people do not own your own homes. That's why they put the transfer stamp on your deeds. They charge you a transfer stamp when they sell you the property. And they take a photocopy of the original before they send it back to you, showing their corporate seal on your deed, and the fact that you got a receipt showing that you paid your transfer fee, transferring the legal ownership to them. But you're all equitable owners. And just to make sure that you don't own your property, they put the first 4 words in every paragraph in all capital letters to make sure that you don't really have a title. And they drop the word absolute from your legal description. And to make sure you stay in statutory satanic venue, they give you a statutory title like tenant in common. They know what they're doing. The International Monetary Fund, of course, they fund all the abortion clinics all over the world. Let's talk about some more fraud. All the laws passed since Abe Lincoln are not laws. The United States Code will spell it out for you. All you got to do is look. Open the front cover of the United States Code. Do you know what it says? It'll list all the laws. Now, the ones that go before Abe Lincoln that the bankers liked, they brought forward. And they call those positive laws. And under the index page, there's little asterisks right there in front of some of the laws. And if you look down below, it says positive law. Positive law is the only law that's been passed. See how ugly this is getting? There is no conspiracy. It's right there in plain view for those who can see. The Bible says those that have eyes will see. Those that have ears will hear. But everybody walks around with their blinders on, if that makes any sense.
David has a doctorate in naturopathy. He was politically active. He discussed issues involving federal tax law. He was a popular guy making more money than he'd ever seen, traveling the world and involved with his family. Why would he possibly try to hire 9 different people to commit murder? Answer: the FBI fabricated the whole crime, and the prosecutor and the judge went along with the KGB-style show trial, all of them violating their oaths of office. Well, David's been in prison now 9.5 years. And a large part of that, I understand, was in solitary confinement.
That's right. First 2 years before he was charged with murder for hire, he was in solitary confinement.
For 2 years?
For 2 years. Freezing. It was cold. They wouldn't even give him enough ample clothes. And David is in solitary confinement, where even he would try to get the attention of the guard to have human contact. And they would slip the food in, and then he wouldn't be able to talk to anybody. But he was entitled to 1 telephone call a month. Give him a mat to sleep on that was approximately a ½ inch thick, and treated him like he was a pariah.
No presumption of innocence.
No, absolutely
You're
not.
saying that he was held 2 years in maximum security prison before he was even charged?
Before he was charged. They had him there on the initial accusations of not paying taxes, which in itself was fraud, because David gave them a power of attorney to charge anything that they felt that they were entitled to. But that wasn't adequate. They wanted him in jail in Boise, Idaho, and while he was down there, they put him in with the child molester and called him a child molester. And they get special abuse if they're child molested from the other prisoners. So that was the rumor they spread around right from the very beginning.
Mr. Gates, in your own words, what have you contributed to the world?
I'm not sure if you're aware, but I created the world's most popular computer operating system.
No, of course. But as we all know, it wasn't actually you who created it. As a matter of fact, the predecessor of Windows, MS-DOS, was created by Gary Kildall, which you then basically stole from him for a couple of dollars.
It's not just development. There's a whole lot of important factors to running an enormously successful company like Microsoft.
So then let's leave the computer world for a moment. You have been a major spokesperson for COVID vaccines during the pandemic.
Yes.
What exactly makes you a computer engineer who didn't even program his initial product himself, a valid representative of the pharmaceutical industry?
I have read a lot of books about that
Yes,
topic.
but how does that...
Wait a second. And met with specialists from the field all over the world.
Mr. Gates, with all due respect, how do you feel about it now? Now that it's becoming more and more evident that the medication you were promoting, whilst having heavily invested in it yourself, thus making billions of it,
This is not how the world works.
has caused countless injuries, side effects, and death.
That's a very immature way of looking at it, quite frankly.
So here's my final question to you. Is this a behavioral pattern?
What do you mean exactly?
Taking technology from other people that you don't understand, selling a product full of bugs, causing massive damage and profiting from it in a spectacular way.
No. This is not how the world works.
Can you sleep at night?
Okay, that's enough. This interview is over. Thank you.
I did not go to medical school.
I'm sorry.
I did not go to medical school.
That's what I thought. Why do you think you or anyone else at Twitter had the medical expertise to censor a doctor's expert opinion?
Our policies regarding COVID were designed to protect individuals. We were seeing
You guys censored Harvard-educated doctors, Stanford-educated doctors, doctors that are educated in the best places in the world, and you silenced those voices. Did the U.S. government ever contact you or anyone at Twitter to pressure Twitter to moderate or censor certain tweets? Yes or no?
we have a program.
Did the U.S. government ever contact you or anyone at Twitter to censor or moderate certain tweets? Yes or no?
We received legal demands to remove content from the platform from the U.S. government and governments all around the world. Those are published on a third-party website, and anyone can review.
Thank God for Matt Taibbi. Thank God for Elon Musk for allowing to show us in the world that Twitter was basically a subsidiary of the FBI, censoring real medical voices with real expertise that put real Americans' lives in danger because they didn't have that information.
What was the very first extraterrestrial that you saw on these bases? Like the first time you actually saw a living being that was not human like us?
That's the tall whites.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So could you tell us a little bit more about that first meeting? Because obviously I would think the very first time you actually see a living being that's clearly not one of us, it has to be just an absolute landmark moment in your entire life.
Actually, indirectly, by seeing these from afar and seeing these through different windows and different programs and then reading about them. So I had a really good understanding of, what was going on way before I was even getting able to see these by researching programs that I was allowed to. So they're breaking you in first just by watching videos and watching and reading books and reading things on their database system that have to do with the past of working with these beings and these creatures.
Give us a description of what they look like, any other specific physical identifying details to start with.
Sure. They're over 7 feet tall. They have a small face, a little bit smaller than ours. They're very slender in the arms, very ectomorphic, as we would say. They have a very fluid movement that's actually like a dance. So it's kind of like this when they move. They're articulating their joints and their limbs are flexible, not like ours, which are really rigid. They also have a very deep understanding of all of our belief systems, and they're very compassionate and they're very smart. And I've seen them from afar, probably 6 to 7 months before I actually, was actually next to a few of them and during a project.
Was it easy to tell the difference between men and women?
Yes, there was a feminine, more slender facial features, and the eyes were a little bit not as large.
What was their form of communication? Did they speak with their mouths? Or
They're
was it...
very telepathic. They can speak perfect English and other languages, all the languages actually. But you don't have to, because they'll just look at you, and they say when you have the look, please look back, because it's this eye thing that they do. When you see their eyes and your eyes, it's like a link of some sort, where it's like however it works, is downloaded everything that they're thinking to you. And they're very receptive to you as well. Like they know everything about you once you meet them.
These identical twin sisters were pure evil. In the quiet town of Bloomsville in 1952, there were two identical twin sisters named Taylor and Dory. They seemed like ordinary, sweet girls, but behind closed doors, they were evil. One day, a new girl named Mary Jane moved into the neighborhood, and the twins grew jealous. Mary quickly became popular, and the attention shifted away from them. The twins didn't like that. One evening, they invited her to a tea party in the woods. The next day, Mary was reported missing. Weeks passed, and rumors began to swirl. The town grew suspicious, but no one could prove anything. Until one night, the twins' mother, named Anaconda, heard them whispering in their room. She pressed her ear against the door. What she heard sent chills down her spine. "We need another one. Mary wasn't enough." Terrified, their mother opened the door to confront them, only to find the room empty, except for two dolls on their beds. Identical dolls with the faces of her daughters, and a third one with Mary's face, staring right at her. The twins were never seen again. Some say they still live around the area in the forests, looking for their next victim.
I got an email from someone I know in real life, and she was like, "Did I ever tell you my story about the haunted dolls?" Her name is Wendy, her son's name is Jake. They love thrifting, love antiques, and I fully believe her. So Wendy's great-grandmother on her mom's side was a spunky lady named Nan, who she inherited her love of thrifting and yard sales from. Nan passed away in 2009 and left them an apartment full of treasures to process. While Wendy's going through all this stuff, she finds a pair of Shirley Temple dolls. She knew about these dolls. One of the dolls Nan had been gifted, and the other one Nan pulled out of the dumpster in front of her apartment because she saw it and had to have it. This is a photo of the Shirley Temple dolls Wendy included. Wendy kept a lot of Nan's things, but she also decided she was going to pass on some of her things to other people who might enjoy them. So she took the two Shirley Temple dolls and gave them to Ma, which was her grandmother on her dad's side, who lived about 15 miles away. Ma had a doll collection, so she was like, this is a perfect fit, and she loved the dolls. Fast forward some years, Ma develops cancer, and she doesn't really want anyone to see her like that, so nobody's really over there. Wendy loses both of her grandparents on her mom's side. Eventually, Wendy loses her last living grandparent, which is her grandfather on her dad's side, who was married to Ma. Now keep in mind, the dolls should have been at his house because Ma was the last person who was in possession of them. But a week after he passes, she goes to pick up her son Jake at her mom's house in a completely different city. And he comes out carrying a box, and he gets in the car and he's like, "Look what we found." And he opens the box and it's the two dolls. She said her face went absolutely white because there's no explanation of why those dolls were in her mom's house. She said she had taken the dolls herself from Nan's house to Ma's house, which was a completely different side of the family, different town, and she had cleaned the houses out herself. Jake decided he does want to keep the dolls, but ultimately they traveled across towns and families on their own. Wendy will be seeing these comments, so let her know if you have questions and keep sending me these stories. I also have a poll now every day on my Instagram, so you can vote on the next story I tell.
So I'm in the shower, and she keeps saying, "Nana, Nana." And I'm like, just go have a seat. Sit down. Watch CoComelon, I'm going to be out. And she's like, "Nana, Nana." So she just kept saying Nana, Nana, or what have you, which is normal for her. She says mommy, mommy all the time. So then she says hi, and she stops saying Nana. And so I'm just taking a shower, and I'm like, "Toots, what are you doing?" And she didn't say anything. I'm like, "Toots, what are you doing?" And then she says, "I heard something say Nana." And I'm like, okay, she's not by the door anymore. She's more by the iPad because it wasn't close to the bathroom door like it was before. And I said, "Toots, come back in the bathroom. Come back in the bathroom." And then I said, "Toots, do you hear me?" And then I heard, "Nana." Y'all, my heart dropped. When I came from the store, I had left the door unlocked. I didn't lock the door. I didn't hear toots. And I said, what? And it said, Nana. And I went to open the shower curtain, and my alarm clock went off, y'all. Child, it was a dream. Thank God, because I'd have died.